Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with some fun Brutus Monroe products. I have the Radiant Rainbow stamp set, which is awesome. It comes with a variety of rainbows and little icons. Now you can get this stamp set separately, or you can also get it in the Radiant Rainbow Inspiration box for the month of June. And you guys know I love to scrapbook rainbows, but today I'm going to scrapbook rainbows with a limited color palette. I'm going to be playing with these Chroma Mists in Lilac Purple, Blue Violet, Cobalt Blue, Turquoise, and Leaf Green. So let's see what I can do. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is create my own pattern paper. And how I'm going to do that is take my Chroma Mists, and I am just going to keep spraying and spraying and spraying until the paper is saturated. Now, I am overlapping a little bit, and I am making sure that my big hunks of white are covered up. Now, this is using a lot of product. My paper will be completely saturated. You'll be able to see the color on both sides of the paper. So if that is not your thing, this technique might not be for you. You might want to do it with ink. But see how beautiful that is. It just blends naturally. I did not do anything else to it other than let that bad boy dry. Isn't that gorgeous? It's gorgeous, you guys. So I have these two photos of Epcot, and I go ahead and mat them on some black cardstock and stick them in the center of my layout. Now I'm going to create a shelf, and I'm going to use the rainbows to create a humper shelf. And I'm going to go ahead and get that done just so that I can show you that your rainbow stamps don't necessarily have to be rainbows. They can be humpers. So I'm going to test out and see where it's going to go. And then I'm using my Brutus Monroe Raven Detail ink. It is my absolute favorite black ink ever. I'm just going to keep filling it up with ink from my stamp pad and pushing it over onto my, wow guys, my mind is completely blank. Why can I not think of the word? I'm going to use my stamp positioner, there we go, to go ahead and stamp out these rainbows all the way across the 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock that I have in here. Now I could have done this with a stamping block. I just find it very easy and convenient to use the stamp positioner tool. That way it's going to be exact and I don't have to worry about it. So now I'm going to fussy cut around the edges, and the great thing about this is it's just a humper. So there is not a lot to fussy cut. You are literally cutting around the arches of the rainbow, and then you're done. Like super quick fussy cutting. This is the kind of fussy cutting that you need to try. Don't start fussy cutting intricate big old flowers with tiny little stems. Fussy cut big things like this. So now I've got the humper, and I'm going to create a little bit of interest along with my humper, and I'm going to take some tape, some decorative tape, and place it over my cardstock. That way I have a more solid piece to work with. Otherwise, you guys know how tape is flexy and movie and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to give me a little bit of rigidity, and I'm going to place it over top of the humpers right here. So now I've got my shelf, and I'm loving it. Like, you might not ever realize that those are rainbows. It looks like a humper border. So now I'm going to go ahead and do some inking around the edges of my layout here. Now this time I am using a stamping block, and that's just because I am repeatedly using this tiny little stamp set that has stars and dots and all the fun things on it, and I don't want to have to keep reapplying and repositioning this tiny little stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and do this all the way around the page, And I am moving my stamp on my block so that it doesn't look like I'm stamping a repeated pattern. It's going to look a little bit more organic and a little bit more fun. Now I am stamping off the edge, so that's why I have that sheet of black cardstock right there. What that's doing is protecting my surface mat down here, so I'm not going to get ink all over the place. Now, if you don't care if your mat gets inky, you don't have to use this little piece of cardstock. You can ink right down on it. I know that some crafters use poster board down on top of their surfaces. And then when it is gunky, they flip it over, and when it's gunky up again, they get rid of it. So always an option. You gotta think of the options that you have. So now I'm going to go ahead and stamp some of the images on the cardstock. And again, I'm just using a small acrylic block. And now I'm going to create surgery on my stamp. So this sun has a smiley face on it. And I'm not really big on smiley faces on my images. So I'm going to cut the smiley face out, but I'm going to do it carefully so I can put the smiley face back into the sun if for some reason I ever want to have a smiley face sun. Like, I don't want to ruin it so it's not there. I'm just cutting around the outside of it. So as you can see, I have that beautiful sun, and I'm going to fussy cut the clouds, and I'm also going to fussy cut out the sun. Now, the reason why I'm fussy cutting these is because I do not have the coordinating dies. There are coordinating dies for this set, you guys. So if fussy cutting is not your jam, you might want to go ahead and get the die set. So now I'm just going to place these stamped images on my photos, and I love this. I love a colorful, bold background with black and white stamped images. It just makes me so happy. So now I'm going to use a tag from my stash to go ahead and cut out another tag, because I don't want to use this brownie chipboard. What I want to use is a nice white tag, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment on it from the stamp set. And now I've got my tag all stamped out, so now I can finish creating my title. So I do like to have titles that are different fonts, and different fonts means sometimes stamping, so it's a lot of fun. Now, I did go ahead and change my mind and stamped that guy, and then I was like, oh, whoops, I sprayed it on and then ripped it in half. So I didn't want to wait, so I went into the back of my layout, cut a little piece out of it that you would never see, and of course covered up that hole. And now I'm going to trim out the tag and then go ahead and get some stamping on there yet again. So pull out that positioner tool one more time. Yes, I am using the epically large positioner tool for a tiny little tag, but it's what was handy, so that's what I used. So it says, enjoy the little things, and now I'm going to add some of the decorative bits on there again. And I figure out where I want that to go. And then, of course, you guys know I cannot abide a naked tag hole, even though there's not really a hole on this tag. But I'm going to tie a bow with some embroidery floss and dollop it down with a bit of glue. Oh, it's coming together, you guys. It is coming together. So now I'm going to grab some letters from my stash, and I'm just going to spell out the word Epcot, because this is where we were. That glass sculpture is a newer addition, and then of course we have Spaceship Earth, which many people call the golf ball. So now I'm going to just add off
a couple finishing touches, and that is going to be two little letter stickers, so that it reads as a full title instead of some funkiness. Now I'm going to use these decorative details, and I'm going to put them down on their coordinating color. So green on green, purple on purple, and then this should have been blue on blue, but it's kind of hanging out in the green a little bit, so the blue is going on top of the green. Now I'm going to cover up my photo and add my absolute favorite gold splatter in the world. This is Ornament Gold Chroma Mist. I'm going to splatter that out, and then this layout is going to be done, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you again real soon for another video.